Hoy nos vamos rapidito con la entrevista que tenemos, Baerga, porque ya tú mencionaste Ferguson Jenkins, como se menciona, lógico, pues sí que se escribe, pero siempre lo hemos conocido como Fergie Jenkins, un miembro del Salón de la Fama, Baerga, y yo espero que la gente ya esté, ¿verdad?, diciendo, wow, me gustan los deportes, tú sabes, todo, Baerga, Mayito y Palito, aseguran de llevarnos, ¿verdad?, lo que mejor hay. Aquí está tenido Edgar Martínez, Iván Rodríguez, Roberto Alomar, ahora añade Fergie Jenkins, Tani Pérez, o sea, aquí ustedes le hemos traído también miembros del Salón de la Fama, pero esta historia de hoy, ¿verdad? Este entrevistado de hoy es bien especial para nosotros.
Oye, Pabellito, y ahí tenemos un Salón de la Fama, Carlos Pinto Reyes, que ya está llegando nuestra gente, está por ahí también, campeón bate, se encuentra con nosotros.
Así que, señores, recuerden, nos vamos en inglés, póngase al día que estos son español, inglés. Hoy nos vamos en inglés, luego de terminar la entrevista, lógico, nosotros vamos a estar con ustedes para hablar de los temas de las Grandes Ligas, pero si usted no sabe quién es el invitado de hoy, aquí un pequeño ladder.
Canada's first Hall of Fame member, Fergie Jenkins, used pinpoint control and effectively changed speeds to win 284 games. Cast in the same mold as finesse artists like Catfish Hunter and Robin Roberts, Jenkins forged an impressive 3.34 ERA despite playing 12 of his 19 seasons in hitters' ballparks, Wrigley Field and Fenway Park. A diligent workhorse, Jenkins used an easy, uncomplicated motion to reach the 20-win mark 7 times and capture the National League Cy Young Award in 1971. He was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1991.
Well, here we go. Now we say bienvenido, welcome to Me Gustan los Deportes junto a Baerga y sus amigos, Fergie Jenkins. It's an honor for us to have you here with us today.
Thank you. It's an honor to be on your show. Looking forward to it.
Fergie, I have to say to the people, this guy, I met him 5 years ago when I first went to Columbus to his celebrity fantasy camp that he do in Columbus for a lot of years. And when I got the opportunity to watch him, I said, wow, what a person, what a player. And he's a complete awesome guy that I really love. And I always love to be around him and joke around and listen to all the stories that he has that you guys going to know tonight here in Me Gustan los Deportes. This guy right here, man, Hall of Famer, this guy, the first Canadian to play in the big leagues. Fergie, where were you born in Canada?
I was born in a little town, Chatham, Ontario, about maybe 65, 70 miles on the Canadian side from Michigan.
Hey, Fergie, I mean, once you say Canada, everybody starts thinking, well, I mean, in Canada, most of the young ones, they prefer to try to play hockey. That's what everybody talks about, hockey. Where did this baseball sport came to you, or you were one of those guys that were pretty much, I mean, we know you were an athlete. You were able to do a few things, but growing up, what was your main sport?
Well, growing up as a youngster, my dad got me a pair of skates when I was 4 years old. I played hockey until I was 17, wow. And enjoyed playing it. But the area scout, Gene DeJura, changed my mind about hockey, and he said, if you really work at it, because I was a first baseman. I had a pretty good arm, and he got me into the line of pitching. And from then on, at the age of 16, I started to pitch. 2 years later, I signed a pro contract with the Phillies, but only because Gene changed my mind about the NHL to come to play baseball.
Well, you know what? We see a couple players in the big leagues, like Dave Winfield, Bo Jackson, all these players, they play all different sports. So you play baseball, you play hockey. Did you play football or anything like that too?
No, I didn't play football. I ran track and played basketball.
Basketball, yeah.
I mean, let everybody know, guys. I mean, we're talking about the NHL, that is the National Hockey League. If you're from Puerto Rico, of course, you're like, what the heck? I mean, we don't see ice in Puerto Rico. So, of course, we had no idea what's going on. The same, it happened to me when I went to Iowa to play college. I was like, what? Hockey? What is that? I mean, but that's, that's the main sport pretty much in Canada. And that's why it's so rare that we get to see players from Canada becoming a major league player. I mean, becoming a Hall of Famer at the end. I mean, Fergie, when you first, saw yourself like I have a potential to maybe go far with this sport in baseball? Which one was that player that you follow when you were getting to that point and say, I would like to face this guy one day if I make it to the big league? I would like to be like this guy in the field. I mean, who was that guy?
Well, when I first signed with the Phillies, all I thought about, if I got an opportunity to maybe face a Willie Mays or a
Wow.
Hank Aaron, and then in the American League, especially All-Star competition, to face Mickey Mantle. Some of the greats that played in the 60s and 70s that I signed were a few years older than me, but it only took me 2.5 years in the minor leagues to get to the big leagues. And I seen a lot of these individuals when I went to Puerto Rico to play for Caguas. I
Yes.
pitched against Cepeda and Clemente,
Yeah.
Tony Perez, Tony Gonzalez, so many guys.
How you
Pancho
like?
Herrera. I mean, there were so many major league players that had great ability, that had really good stats, and I was looking forward to coming down on them, basically using my ability against their ability.
Thank you for letting everybody know that you play in Caguas, Puerto Rico, because you always talk to me about that, and I always say, man, the people in Puerto Rico, I know if I tell you right now, we're going through a tough moment in Puerto Rico because the fans they don't go to the games, and at the time that I played, in Puerto Rico, that was the last time that we always have like 10,000 people, to watch us play. When you guys play, that ballpark was packed all the time. When his father, Santiago, when Santiago's father played, it was unbelievable, man. And the players that played there, look at what you talk about, Roberto Clemente, yourself. Tell me about that. How that league helped you to get to the big leagues.
Well, when I went to Puerto Rico on the advice of the Phillies, I was 19 years old, and Cal McClish was the pitching coach. We took Grant Jackson, Alex Johnson, Pat Corrales, and Rick Wise were the imports, and Jose Pagan was the manager of the team. I'm trying to think. Felix Millon was the second baseman.
Wow.
Arturo Lopez played the outfield. Well, we had a ball club that had ex-professional players, and believe me, the game to them was more than interesting. We averaged maybe 6,500 to 10,000 fans a night, and on weekends even more people. But they were standing room only.
Yeah.
I mean,
we had to play. We had to play San Juan or Mayagüez or Ponce. Those stadiums were full when we went on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about Caguas, of course. I mean, the people in Puerto Rico, they know how big is Caguas, the franchise of Caguas. It's one that a lot of people would like to always battle with them because they used to be, Carlos, you remember, they used to be the ones that bring the best imports. I mean, Santurce and Caguas were the two teams that were like, they were always battling. I mean, the imports, of course, the guys from Puerto Rico, the natives, we're going to beat this guy for sure. But I mean, we want people to know, especially the ones that are listening to it in English. I mean, back then, especially when Fergie was playing, I mean, it was something amazing in the league. And I think the thing that people forget, Fergie, is okay. We needed to go to Puerto Rico, get better on our craft, try to establish ourselves in the big league. But I mean, like my dad always said, I had to pitch in the big league. I had to come to Puerto Rico and play because I needed the money. I mean, that was my job. It's not like now there's so many million monies that you're like, well, it's okay. I don't have to work in the winter or nothing. But I mean, for you guys, you needed to get better. Plus, you need to make sure you don't get hurt because this is your job.
Yeah, the average salary when I played was like 45,000, 50,000. The superstars like Mays and Mantle and Aaron, Koufax, guys, they were making 100,000. But I wanted to work to get to that plateau, and what you had to do is to prove yourself in winter ball. And my second year winter ball, Cal McClish taught me the slider, and that particular pitch got me to the point that everybody was looking at my performances. And I think that in 1964, 65 is when I got to the big leagues throwing that slider.
Wow, this guy's 6'5", man. When you see him throw, you go like, I can't imagine him pitch to me. He's a tough guy. Looking at him, big guy in there. You better be ready because he's gonna throw it to you right there. I
threw a lot of strikes. I didn't walk anybody. I was known to have real good control. I threw a lot of strikes, and I challenged the hitter. And I don't think you see that much now in the big leagues with younger players. They're always 2-2, 3-2, and they foul 1 or 2 pitches off. So they're throwing 11 pitches to maybe one hitter, where I would throw maybe 1 or 2 to get a ground ball. That was it.
Palillito, let me say something. Yesterday, this weekend, I don't know if you watch it, San Diego played against the Dodgers. And something that happened this weekend. Did you watch it? You watched it?
Yeah, I watched the game. Yeah.
Did you watch Tati? You know, he's a great player. And
he hit 2 balls so hard out of the ballpark.
Was amazing. But you know what? Palillito says something. He put a video, and he says something that's true. The Dodgers, they never pitch inside to him. Everything was middle outside, outside. And I say, you're
going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt for sure. Yeah. Clayton Kershaw is not the pitcher he was 5 years ago. And those lollipop curveballs he throws, or even the off-piece slider, I mean, it's right in the middle of the plate, and you're not going to take that pitch. You're going to hit it hard, and that's the end result. He got hit hard. The only pitch 2/3 innings.
We were
2/3.
Fergie, I mean, we watched the game. I mean, we analyzed or whatever because, of course, you know, we play. I mean, I played minor league 12 years. Baerga played in the big league. My dad, my godfather, Tony Perez. I mean, so you learn a lot of stuff while they're talking to you growing up. And all of a sudden, you're watching the game now, and people, the first thing they said, Fergie, are you old-fashioned? Why do we have to go to old-fashioned when something is common sense when you're in the game? I mean,
yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's say, for example, Fergie, that Tati got to take a peek. Okay, let's say, for example, but 6 pitches in a row were sliding and fast, we were outside, middle, outside. What the heck do Bauer think he's going to look in the 7th pitch? It's going to look middle, away. And if you do that, even if with a bad swing, you could reach a pitch outside and poke it over the fence and wait the strong now. I mean, so Fergie, I mean, how tough it is for you to watch a game or even go to spring training where you were going to spring training with the Cubs or anything that you get to go. How frustrating was talking to some of these kids that I know for sure you had to be thinking, man, that either they didn't teach him well in the college or high school or something is wrong with me.
Well, in the minor leagues, I think it's totally different than when you get to big leagues. All of a sudden, they see a hitter that has a reputation. They're afraid to challenge them inside, push them off the plate a little bit because they can't have both sides of the plate. The hitter, and you can't have both sides. But the number one thing, but you can work at it to work that off speed, especially Clayton Kershaw, throwing that hard slider inside, not hanging it outside over top of the middle of the plate. I mean, you're going to get punished. The number one thing is they throw too many pitches per inning, 25 to 30 pitches an inning, and now your total is high. You're only going to pitch 4 or 5 innings. You got 90 pitches in the 5th inning, so your day is done. So you don't challenge. The challenging the hitter is something they don't do as well anymore.
We're talking to a guy that this guy played just 2.5 years in the minor leagues and right away went to the big leagues. You numbers in the minor league was unbelievable, Palillito. 8-3, 12-6, 15-11, and right away went to the big leagues. When you got that call to the big leagues, tell me about it.
Well, I was playing for Arkansas at the time, and they called up 5 players: Adolfo Phillips, Billy Sorrell, Rick Wise, John Hernstein, Alex Johnson, and myself. And after the ball game, Frank Lucchese called us in the office. They said, tomorrow, your assignment is to go to the big leagues. The Phillies have bought your contract. I said, I'm ready to go. And it was only for $6,500, though. back in the 60s, that's all you made. Major league rookie salary was $6,500.
Wow. Wow.
I mean,
Fergie, I was called up for 30 days. 30 days. Made Fergie, the ball club and made the ball club come 66.
When you made it to the big league with the Phillies, I mean, they didn't show you as a starter. They saw you more of as a reliever, or it was just something back then the Phillies were doing, or other teams were doing. The young ones, we're gonna bring them in the bullpen first, and then we're gonna see if they could be a starter. But the Phillies never gave you that chance to try to be the starter for them, because I mean, Jim Bunning was there. They could have you and Jim Bunning for a few years. And I mean,
Right.
I don't know how many World Series you guys probably would have won.
Yeah. Well, in September, it was a 40-man roster. They filled the roster up with players. So I was kind of the 15th player in the bullpen. Okay. Now, I didn't get an opportunity to get I had number 46. And the next year in 66, I had 30. My uniform number, I said, I'm making this ball club with that number. I'm making the team. I had a low number. So I'm now the 9th player to make the team in that pitching staff. And I was in the bullpen. Jim Bunning, Chris Short, Art Mahaffey, Roebuck, and Ray Culp. They had 5 starters back then. And I was in the bullpen with Grant Jackson, Earl, I'm trying to think, a guy named Earl, I can't think of his last name. But there was 5 in the bullpen and 5 starters. We had 10 players on the team, 10 pitchers. So I made the ball club. And a week later, they traded me to the Cubs. Adolfo Phillips, John Hernstein, for Larry Jackson and Bob Buell from the Cubs. So I went to join the Cubs. I was there for almost 2.5 months in the bullpen. Then they made me a starter mid-July, about the All-Star break. Yeah. And then from then on, I was a starter. I won the job. I started winning ball games.
Yeah. That was the best move for you right away. They give you the
opportunity. By far. Getting that opportunity to show them exactly what my ability was all about. I look back at it. I had the right time, right place, and got that opportunity. I didn't turn it down.
I know. 1967, this guy, the first full year in the big leagues, 20-13, and you made the All-Star game.
Right.
Tell me about that. First full year in the big leagues and made the All-Star game, Parillito. That was amazing.
No, I mean, and let us guys know. Pay attention when Fergie tells the story, because he didn't stroke out 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 guys. I mean, let him tell you about it so you know what he's talking about.
Well, my record was like maybe 12-4, 12-5 at the break. So I was one of the pitchers that made the All-Star team, along with Marichal, Gibson, Seaver. Game was in Anaheim, California. Marichal got in trouble in the 2nd inning, and I came in. There was 2 out at the time. I came into relief, and Walter Austin is the manager. Walter Austin. And Joe Torre is the catcher. Joe Torre says, "You know who's the first pinch hitter is going to be?" I said, "It's Mickey Mantle." I said, "I understand what I have to do. I have to get ahead of him and throw strikes." I was very fortunate enough. I struck him out, and I struck out 5 more guys after that.
Wow.
Let me see. This Mickey's coming up right now.
Yeah.
But I struck out Harmon Killebrew. I think I'm trying to think who else. Tony Perez, Rod Carew, Fergosi.
Yeah. You got Fregosi, you got Tony Oliva, and Rod Carew too. I mean, it was one of those performances, Fergie, that it was easy to say, wow, that's Hall of Fame performance. I mean, you were still young, of course, so people don't know what Fergie Jenkins is going to be in the future. But at that moment, now looking back, hey, it was a Hall of Fame moment. And you got to strike out Mickey Mantle. And it's so nice to hear you at the beginning when you were talking. You wanted to face Mickey Mantle, Willie Mays, and all these guys. Because I grew up like that. My dad always told me my first relief appearance was against the Yankees. And, one of my idols was there, Mickey Mantle. And I always tell him, yeah, but he was old, Pat. I mean, come on, he was old already. And my daddy said, I don't care. He had it back. He was Mickey Mantle.
Yeah. Hey, he came to the plate to do damage. Yeah. He came there not to look at you, but to do damage. And that's all I thought about. Hey, I'm not going to let him hit me.
Wow. Something that I always say, man, you need to respect no matter who it is, how old it is. Always have respect, because you never know what can happen. He has a bat in his hand. Something can happen anytime.
Yeah.
So that's good. Hey,
your ability against his. And you want to win out that particular moment. You want to win the challenge. Yeah. And I was very fortunate enough to do that. As the first All-Star team, you have a lot of adrenaline going. I mean, you're pumped up. So I was pumped up to do a good job, and it all worked out really well.
Awesome. That year you finished with 20. You lead the league in complete games with 20. That's Wow, that's an unbelievable number. You did it 8 times in the big leagues. 8
Yeah.
times in the
I
big
had
league. That's
31 years. I
amazing.
had 31 year, my Cy Young year.
Yeah. Cy Young year, 1971. You win 24 games with Chicago because, you know, when I see these numbers, Parillito, I go like, wow, that's amazing. He got 7 years in a row winning over 20 games.
Almost, yeah.
But that year, 71, 24-13, 39 complete games, 30 complete games, 325 innings. You pitch, you go there to pitch. You won the ball every 5th day in there. Now that you watch the pitcher pitch 5 innings and go like they smiling in the bench. I finished. I win the game. I finished.
Sometimes I look at it. You're not using your total ability if you only throw 5 innings. But the funny thing about it, as I said, they don't throw strikes. You have 34 or 40 pitches in an inning. You know, by the time you're the 3rd or 4th inning, you already got 90 pitches. So your day's going to be done. The manager doesn't leave you out there anymore. To win a ball game, sometimes I throw 120, 130 pitches to win a ball game because I had 2 really good managers. And I tell people all the time, I had Leo DeRocher for 7 years. I had Billy Martin for 2 tough managers. So if they gave you the ball, they didn't want it back until the game was over. That was their mentality. They totally. That was they thought. Hey, they walked by on the bench. Are you okay? You're staying in there. That was it.
You need water? You don't need water? You're okay then. When you stay there, you know that. I mean, Fergie,
Yeah.
I mean, and he comes back. Baerga was mentioning the Cy Young in 71, all that. I still feel 74. You should have won the Cy Young too. So I'm just saying,
I
74. I think you should have won it. But it's okay.
Catfish Hunter had more. He had more 4th-place votes than I had. I beat Oakland 5 times that year too.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, look at that. So I mean, but Fergie,
it happens.
I guess, yeah, that's true. I guess it goes back to the game we're playing now, and I understand that things have to change. We have to evolve and all that, technology and all that stuff. But I still feel, Fergie, that the game doesn't have to change. We still have to use a bat, a ball, a glove. I mean, we still have to do this. We don't have to change. And now you're mentioning, we know that pitchers they don't want to throw strike. They're afraid of contact. They're completely afraid of contact. But I think it's the mentality they got now in the game. I'm a starter. I don't have to pitch more than 5. Most of the guy goes like, I don't have to. If I have to throw 100 pitches in 5 innings, I don't care because they're gonna take me out anyway. They're not gonna let me go past 5 innings, and I still feel the same way with the hitting. Everybody's out, we're striking out tomorrow. I mean, if we don't do nothing about it. The teams don't do nothing about it. Oh, you can strike out, no problem. Strike out 3 times. It don't matter as long as you try to hit 20 home runs, 30 home runs. Don't worry about it. We could deal with that. I mean, if Fergie Jenkins was the commissioner right now, this is just between us here, having fun with this. I mean, what changes would you do? What you come up with? And if you have any new ideas, bring it up.
Well, the number one thing, I think spring training should be a little bit longer. They start playing too early. They play like March 30th or April 1st. We always played right through the spring training till April the 11th. So now you get a full 6 weeks of spring training.
Yeah.
And you're probably going to get maybe 4 or 5 pitching assignments. You start off with 2 to 3 innings, then you stretch it to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6. My last start, I always tried to pitch 9 innings. And I threw batting practice every 3rd day. The strength of my batting practice. Face the hitter, throw strikes. That totally helped me in my delivery or what I tried to accomplish, throwing strikes to the hitter. When the season started, opening day, I thought that I had the strength to go at least 7 to 8 or maybe 9 innings, depending on the weather a lot of times. But, playing in Chicago, opening up in Montreal or in Pittsburgh, or in our division, we opened up against the Mets in New York. The weather's going to be cold. So you got to be physically fit to play that game. You got to be ready to open up the season.
That's good that you're saying that because me and Palillito, we've been talking about. I'm trying. I got a friend that I already sent him a message today. Please, let me know how many players being hurt in 2 weeks this year. Pitchers, outfielders, hitters. You know,
they don't
like
run enough. They don't run enough. They do too much stretching. Too many weights are in the locker rooms.
Yeah.
There's something to do with the weights. You know, you don't have to lift weights to complete a ball game. I mean, the strength is your lower half of the body, your legs and your arm.
Yeah.
And you don't have to lift weights to get big and strong. You know, there's a lot of concept difference that I had now when you play because of the fact that we have 2 or 3 different coaches for this and that. A strength coach. I never had a strength coach. I was my own strength coach.
You know what you have to do.
Yeah, I knew when I had enough. I knew when I had enough strength to do a certain task. You know, I ran, I did sit-ups. I threw a lot of batting practice, which strengthens your arm so that you can handle the load when you start the season. And to throw 300 innings takes work. All it does, it takes a lot of work. You got to have a strong body. And knock on wood, I was only in 21 seasons. I was on the DL one time.
What?
Yeah. You see, I mean, one of the things that I always tell the kids that I work with here, I mean, it's long toss. Try to do long toss. Try to throw, like you said, every 3 days. You know, get a bullpen going and all that. But right now, there's a lot of travel things. Somebody came up with travel thing, and people think they come up with this travel thing to help develop players, but it's mainly money. I mean, it's many. Everybody makes money, and the kids is just because there's no way, Fergie, you could have a kid, 12, 13, 14 years old. He's gonna start a game Friday night. He's gonna relieve Saturday night, and he's gonna try to clinch the championship game, whatever, the Sunday morning. I mean, it just. Of course they're gonna get hurt. Of course they're all gonna get hurt. And people right away say, "Oh yeah, you see, they can't do it like back then, throwing every day." No, back then they didn't throw like that. That's not how That's not what Fergie's talking about throwing. I mean, Atlanta Brave. You remember that staff, guys? Glavin, Maddox, even Avery and Small. They threw a lot. I mean, they had them throw every 3 days in the bullpen. People thought they were crazy, and as far as I know, I haven't seen a rotation like that in quite a while now in the game.
You're right. Yeah. Well, the one really good rotation. Remember Baltimore with Cuellar, Jim Palmer, Dawson, and McNally. You know, I think because of the fact that they had a good pitching coach, he knew what the assignment was per guy, and he pitched every 4th or 5th day. And these guys won 20 games, and you're not going to ever see that ever again because of the knowledge of learning the hitters and where you were playing and the good defense that played behind them. And that's what it takes.
People, we are learning today from a guy that pitched every 5 days for a lot of years. This guy got a 4,500 innings in the
I never had a sore arm. That's one thing. I never had a sore arm because I threw all the time.
Yeah, pitch every day. No weights, no nothing. You know, he take care of himself, running, stuff like that. The way that a lot of old people do it. You know what? You are in a list with Greg Maddux. You are the first one. Greg Maddux, Kurt Schilling, Pedro Martinez. The only 4 players, Parillito, to strike out more than 3,000 people and less than 1,000 walks. When you talk about the walks before, I say, wow. Yeah. 3,000 people strike out, less walk in there. And that's why he's been talking about throwing strike, working the bullpen, you know, stuff like that. And you are the second pitcher that I heard that he takes that section of the bullpen very serious. You know who's the first one? Greg Maddux. I heard him talking about when I'm going to throw a bullpen, that day I work. I don't want nobody to joke around next to me because I'm working in my pitches. You know, the pitches that I don't. Yeah.
I mean, it's all about the task at hand and the hard work you do off the field, which is in the bullpen or throwing a side. That's going to help you when the game starts. And batting practice, to me, having a bullpen and then going and throwing batting practice to the extra man with a catcher gave me where I can put the ball. That taught me a lesson of how the hitter is going to look at my pitches. That's the number one thing. When you challenge a hitter, he's going to tell you if you're not throwing well. He's going to hit the ball pretty hard, and even in batting practice. You know, you're not trying to
and
get
that
them out, but you're working on. You've got an assignment to work on. Working on a slider, changeup, or maybe a running fastball. So you're working on something too.
Fergie, that would be something amazing now if these pitchers decide to throw more BP to their guy because they get traded every 2 minutes. They sign with the team. I mean, you get to see the guy how he acts when he's with you. But I mean, it's something that some people make fun of it. Max Scherzer, we're talking about pitchers here. Max Scherzer, one of the best pitchers too in the game. When Max Scherzer is going to throw a bullpen before he starts a game, if that next start is on the road, he puts his road uniform, and he gets all the gear on, and he goes and throw. Even if he's in the spring training, he says, "No, I'm gonna throw my bullpen the same way like I'm gonna be throwing again." So he needs to feel the uniform. He needs to feel how he fit. I mean, and those are little things like this, but to be great, like Fergie Jenkins was, to be great, guys.
You have to do it because that's your job. That's your job.
Yeah.
And as I said, you got to take it totally serious. And he's a serious player. I mean, the number one thing, you can't joke around. No. This is your livelihood. This is how you make your money. So
I mean, Fergie, you probably go crazy when you watch this game before they start and you see these players mingling around in the field. Because my dad always go. Oh, if I used to see I would be on his face right away. Don't you ever do that?
You know, I want to ask you something. When you see a guy like Jacob deGrom and Garrett Cole pitching, do you love that?
Ooh, I think they have the ability to do the right things, but they don't do it sometimes. It's not a guessing game. It's you and the catcher trying to set that hitter up to get them out with less than a dozen pitches per at bat. Because what they do in baseball, you can only go around the starting lineup twice, then you're gone. But if you do it the right way, you could face them into maybe three times or maybe even the fourth time. That leadoff hitter might get a chance to come to the plate 4 times. You got to get him out.
Yeah.
Hey, before we let you go on all that, you have to let us know a little bit about your 2 or 3 years that you were with the Harlem Globetrotters. Because I know now the Harlem Globetrotters are more of a once in a while we hear about them or not. But back then, I mean, the Harlem Globetrotters was something, and I remember it was you. I think it was Bob Gibson too, and somebody else was there too. But I mean, how was that experience, and how you came up with the, you know what? I'm playing baseball and all that, but I still want to do how Glenn Globetrotter once in a while.
Well, it all started in 1967. It was my off-season job. I'm trying to think. Anthony Donazzo was the marketing guru, and their office was downtown Michigan on Michigan Avenue. And I got an interview to come and meet some of the guys, Curly Neal, Meadowlark, Leon Hilliard, Jackie Jackson. And they started touring in October, right when the season was over. They started off in Montreal, Canada. And they said, well, maybe you could play maybe a dozen games with them to be the pitcher that each night gave up a home run to Meadowlark Lemon. So I said, I played a lot of basketball. I said, we'll work out. We'll see what happens. I ended up playing 3 seasons with them.
Wow.
I mean, it was not a celebrity type of thing. Yeah. No, I played.
And I enjoyed playing. So I played almost 180 games with them in 3 seasons. Yeah.
Baerga, that was a key thing that he said there. Off-season job. I mean, off-season job. He was already playing in the big league.
He talked about it. He loved it.
I was making money, but I wasn't going out there to get hurt. I wasn't a star. I played the third quarter every night.
But
that was a lot of fun.
We have to bring. I'm gonna talk to Bertrand or Javier Molina when they do the events. We have to bring him to play golf. This guy's a celebrity, man. This guy, he can do it all, man. He enjoy it. You have to come back to Puerto Rico. I know a lot of people are gonna love it, to have you there.
Love to do it.
You're amazing. Hey, I want to this question. When you see a guy like Bauer pitching in the mound, laughing, doing all the stuff, like joking around, do you like that?
Oh, and he's a little bit like Mark Fidrich. Remember Mark Fidrich?
Yeah.
Mark Fidrich, he had a plan. He had a plan to do a good job. It's unfortunate he got hurt. One year he won 19 ball games. But Bauer, he's still got to prove himself. He's with a better ball club now. He's with the Dodgers. But
Yeah.
jokingly is not how you pitch. You got to be very serious when you're out there. And I think one of the veterans on the ball club will take him aside and get it in his ear and tell him, hey, this game isn't a joke. You got to be serious. We want to win another championship.
Yeah.
But he's on a good ball club. And if he's going to be part of that Dodger scheme, they're going to teach him the right way to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want the other team to feel confidence or nothing. No, you want them to feel that this is, like back then, the New York Yankees. We're the New York Yankees. You come here, you have to deal with us, and we're not going to laugh or we're not going to do nothing. Fergie, before you go, I'm going to show you this picture, and I just want you to tell me whatever you can for each of those guys that you see in that picture.
Well, Roberto Clemente and Jackie Robinson. I played against Roberto 8 years. I met Jackie Robinson in Chicago one time. He's a little older man. Two great individuals. I mean, I think Roberto Clemente is the father of baseball in Puerto Rico, correct?
Yes.
And now you're looking at Jackie Robinson gave the players of color an opportunity to play in the big leagues.
Baerga, I mean, those two guys, it means a lot. I mean, Fergie still is with 284 wins. You are the pitcher from the color baseball player with the most wins, and I'm pretty sure that. I mean, you hope that to get broken one day. I mean, you will hope, but of course, we're pitching 5 innings.
284 wins, 284.
Now pitching 5 innings and 4 innings. There's just no way.
It's not going to be broken for a while, for sure.
And I don't think that's going to happen, man. I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah. It's just the way the game is. These guys are getting hurt all the time. It's something that I got my starting pitcher, and then when I open my eyes, I'm missing 3 for the next series. And I say, what's going on here?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen again. To have a guy that wins 300 wins, that's going to be.
That's a lot of work.
And look at what happened.
That's going to the mound every 4 or 5 days for 15 to 20 years.
No, and look at what happened to DeGrom. DeGrom is the best pitcher of the game right now. The guy for the Mets, and the guy, the team, when he pitch, he don't win. They don't hit for him. So
they don't score any runs. They don't score any runs. He drives them in himself. The last game he won 2-0. Now he's opening his own runs.
Hey guys, whoever is listening to this, remember this guy that was here, Fergie Jenkins, not only a pitcher. There was a year he hit 6 home runs and drove 20 runs. I mean, 30, he was a good hitter. So
30 homers, 85 RBIs, 30 homers, 35 RBIs. This guy can hit, man.
Well, I mean,
going to the plate for sure. Yeah.
Wait, Fergie, thank you for being here.
All right,
with us
my
today.
pleasure.
It was an honor, to talk to you about baseball, and thank you for letting us know and let everybody know here, how you have to respect this game, how you prepare yourself, to become one of the best pitchers in the game. Even though that you have to go through a tough time, because we don't talk about that. But I know you have to went through a lot of tough times, because of color and barriers.
Playing in the southern states, Chattanooga and Little Rock was tough from time to time, but I knew I wasn't going to stay there long. I worked hard to get promoted, and I got to the Phillies quick. So, but it all takes hard work. That's all.
Yeah. God bless you. All the best for you, my friend.
Pleasure. Take care.
Meeting you, my man. Take care.
Thank you.
Hey, señores, ese es Ferguson Jenkins. Fergie Jenkins, ¿verdad? Lógico, siempre lo conoce todo el mundo. Pero Ferguson Jenkins, uno de los mejores lanzadores. Y como le dijimos ahí al final, el lanzador de color que más victorias tiene en la historia del béisbol. Y yo creo que se va a quedar así posiblemente por buen tiempo. Bueno, no, espérate, Baerga. Porque algo me dice a mí que de aquí a 10 años, quién sabe, 12, los juegos van a ser a 7. Y con 3 entradas que usted piche, usted puede ganar un partido. Eso puede ser que alguien llegue a...
Sí, porque acuérdate que tiraron unos hitters ayer con 7 entradas. Ahora van a cambiar los juegos a 7 para hacer